Alright, so yesterday night, I sat there and took a little bit of a movie break and I watched the movie Homestead. So, what was Homestead all about? Okay, so how do I talk about this movie without having any spoilers? Well, one thing that we all know is that Homestead is about nuclear war hitting America. So, that's simple. I can say that much without giving the movie plot away. Now, when I watched the movie Homestead, I sat there, I watched it, and I want to say, looking at the special effects, I'd say, they had a lot of good special effects in the movie. I'd, I'd say the special effects were decent. I don't get too crazy about special effects because my biggest thing is about storyline. Now, storyline is really important for me because the movie is very clearly a thing where it's supposed to be fiction. So here's the question: when you think about fiction, is it fiction where it's about propaganda? Is it fiction where it's trying to pull people in? So here's what I would say as a Christian watching the film. Sometimes you expose yourselves to movies and there might be a subtle course that's guiding you through to lead you to this belief or that belief. So what I would say is there are undertones of something else. And there are some doctrinal questions that you would ask. But if you ignore that and just look at the film as a clearly fictional film and think about the Bible verses and realize a lot of the films that are out there do exist, because if you watch any movie that's out there, for example, you watch Gladiator, there's stuff that's out there. So when you watch the movie, you have to watch the movie as a clearly fictional movie. Step one. Step two, you've got to watch the movie as a movie that is directly speaking about what is a hypothetical, non-existent situation. Could happen, could not. Think tank. Okay, think tanks are when you talk about things that may or may not happen. That's another thing. Now, the things that are pluses in the movie is they had a scene where a kid liked the girl, and a lot of times you have teenage love, and teenage love, they try and guide it into a sex scene, and they did not try and guide the scene into a sex scene. That was amazing. I liked that. Very moralistic. And they actually asked to... I'll let you see that one. And I paused to stop because I want you to think about where they guided the scene. And I want you to see how the scene worked, because I want you to understand the storyline. But hearing that, I want you to understand that there were strong moral dilemmas that happen in a survivalist situation. And I want you to understand that because of those situations that they were faced to deal with, they had questions of, does this person live? Does this person die? Do we leave this person out? Do we leave this person in? Do we forsake our friends? Or do we ask our friends for help? How do we help the community? How do we not help the community? Do we kick people out? Do we not kick people out? Do we help others? Do we not help others? And that's the interesting thing about the movie. They try to put together ways to discuss those topics. And that's what's so interesting about the movie. They talked about the difference between love and selfishness. Now, on some points, they emphasized the point of loving the neighbor. But then on some points, they emphasized the point of not loving the neighbor. So, as a fictional movie that gives hope and talks about people doing good things, during the COVID situation, I would say I have seen a lot of people come together and do nice things for others. But then during some of our natural disasters and things like that, I've also seen people come together and do bad things for people. So watching this movie, it brings about reminders that there are good people and there are bad people. But at the end of the day, as a Christian, I remember what the Bible says when it says everybody is sinful. And everybody struggles with sin. But when I watched the movie, it asked those questions, who's in your community? Does the community work together? Will the community work together? And how would all that work? And how does that look? So, all in all, I'm kind of jaded on the storyline a little bit because I don't know if the storyline is one I'd say is bad, because it's not bad. I think the storyline is a good movie, so I think it's a good watch for a Christian. I think you should highly analyze everything and match things up with the Bible if you're going to watch it. So don't go and watch it and not take the time to analyze it. But if you do, don't just soak everything up as like, oh, this is fact, and don't take it in as a fear-mongering thing. Just watch it for entertainment. Think about it and be like, oh, this is a good, interesting movie to think about as a think tank movie. But when you watch it, realize there is some death in there. So there's death. There are some explosions. The scene that could have been a sex scene turned into a moralistic scene, which was good. And I really appreciate that. I thought, so those are some high bars and high stars for the movie. That was a 2 thumbs up for that, because they did something that was different, which was very moralistic. I like that. So that was really impressive. And that's what I'd say for the review of the movie. So I would recommend it as a good movie to watch, just to check out. But I would definitely say that it's a fictional movie, and it's a think tank movie as a what if, not a this is going to happen. So there's my review of Homestead.